What the fuck is up, party people? My name is Mystery, and welcome back to yet another upload on the channel. It's been a while, as per usual, once a year uploads. But we're back, and we're starting a little bit of a new series, but pretty much some stuff we've been doing in the past. This is going to be called Mid-Tier Monday. I really want to start actually getting more Draft League content out there, and I want to cover some mods that people don't really see as much. So Mid-Tier Monday was an idea brought out to me by my friend Ava. Shout out to her. And we're gonna hop right into it. First episode is Sky High. We're tackling some of the best mid-tier birds, and I use best loosely. So let's hop right into it. First up, we got the God Mega Pidgeot. Really good stats, honestly, all things considered. 135 special attack, nothing to sneeze at. 121 speed. It's like really good. I really wish this was like 123, so you'd outspeed shit like Gren and Torn. You don't have to run the speed tie shit with Torn, because I've seen that now a few times. But still a good speed tier nonetheless. Its defenses are just very mid with 83, 80, and 80. Nothing to write home about. But without further ado, let's hop into it. Hurricane, Heatwave, U-turn, Roost. This is pretty much what you're going to see. Maybe you throw... if there's nothing Heatwave is really good for that week, throw Toxic on. But relatively speaking, this is pretty much what you're looking at. No Guard, obviously, really good ability, can't miss moves. But your opponent also cannot miss on you, so something to look out for with like Stone Edges and shit like that. Pre-ability wise, I prefer Big Pecs. I love that ability. I don't know why. It's just, it's not bad. You can either use like Kenai or Big Pecs, I'd recommend. Kenai can't lower your accuracy, but obviously if you then evolve into Mega Pidgeot, then it doesn't really matter. And Big Pecs obviously can't lower defense, so it's probably the better of the three. But No Guard, pretty good ability overall. But yeah, this is your pretty typical boring Pidgeot. Obviously you can play around the EVs and all that kind of stuff, but nothing crazy. This mon does not get Focus Blast, which if it got Focus Blast that you could put in this slot, I think it would go a long way, because then you could hit the rock types. You could hit shit like Tyranitar, because your ground coverage is a Mud Slap, and your fighting coverage, I believe it gets Detect, epic. It's just it's not great, but you got to work with what you got, and it's not a lot. So move on to this. Stallbreaker, LOL. The set's not good, I'll tell you that. But I just wanted to show off, it does get refreshed, so in Legacy Leagues, it's pretty cool. You can do, like, tiny bit of stall breaking with that and kind of work with it, but it gets work up as well, so it can boost its stats a little bit. And, you already saw the rest. But I believe this spread is for, I want to say... I don't even remember anymore. I built this, like, a week ago. I'm going to keep it real with y'all. But, try to play with the EVs, I would say, with this mon, especially if you're going to run workup, is really try to invest for what you actually need, because the bulk could go a long way. But yeah, nothing crazy there as well. Just, just your typical stall breaker. I put Pivot ? Because its defenses are really bad, but it's not the worst thing in the world. Again, you really struggle against Steel type, like, I don't know, Aggron would be kind of annoying. But just attempt to, obviously you can throw a U-turn on this, but it does get defog, which is obviously helpful. Just kind of a mini pivot set, nothing crazy. And then just other options for the God Mega Pidgeot, and then I'll talk about things you can do with Mega Pidgeot team-wise. Does get Pursuit, not bad. Again, that's Legacy only. Feather Dance is kind of cool. We'll talk about it a little bit with Starraptor as well. It's not like, -2 attack is pretty solid. You can kind of work with that in like roost sets. It does get Tailwind. I'm not a Tailwind fan personally in singles, but if you really need it for a certain matchup, it's not like the worst thing in the world. And then Quick Attack, obviously, priority. Yeah, it's fine. Not really going to run it too often, but who knows. And then we move on to Starraptor. Another Ava shout out, her favorite mon, Beast. This is probably I want to say this is my favorite, just because you don't have to waste your Mega on Pidgeot, but Pidgeot's like clearly the best one. We're working from best to worst here. But Starraptor's nothing to sneeze at. 120 attack is still pretty solid. It's starting to get power crept a little bit, but Brave Bird, Double Edge, Close Combat, U-Turn, it's pretty standard what you're going to see. You might see Intimidate even on Scarf sets, but more often than not, it'll be Reckless, and you're just trying to fuck shit up. Really what switches into this best is like the Steel Flying types, like Corv, Scarm, and Celesteela. I don't believe he does get Heat Wave, so if you want to run that mixed with that 50 special attack, be my guest, because I will not be doing that with you. And then obviously, pretty similar thing, just banned. I'm just throwing on there because nothing, or no, I shouldn't say nothing, but a lot of things in the game do not want to switch into Bandit Starraptor. This dude is a fucking demon. Absolutely blows holes in teams. It's really hard to fit on squads. I get it. It's not terrible though, because you do have other options, like I talked about earlier with Feather Dance. You know, you can kind of do a little bit of support. You do get U-Turn, obviously, Roost, and you could kind of fuck with a few different Pokemon. This spread actually is for Terrakion, I do know this. If you Intimidate and Feather Dance it, you live a Stone Edge. Just things that you can do like that, where there are options, and I put Webs on here because obviously it would need to be slower than you for that to be effective, but you can really fuck with a few different Pokemon and make this kind of stuff work. Obviously, everyone knows one of the benefits of Starraptor is Final Gambit, though, and 85 HP is not bad. I believe it's higher than like Latios and shit, so decent HP stat. You just fully invest into that and lead off with this and either get a kill with Final Gambit or fuck something up with Brave Bird or Close Combat, and then if you really need to, you know, maybe you get knocked off, you can quick attack before you die. But yeah, like this slot here, you could do, you know, I don't know, Endeavor, I guess, you know, Agility, whatever the fuck. But really, what you're worrying about on the set is Final Gambit more often than not. You're kind of just, you know, trying to take something out with you against teams that don't have ghost types. And then other options, I again used this lightly. Endeavor is there. It does get Endure. Like Endeavor is, I guess, an option in Quick Attack. Not the worst thing in the world, I suppose, but definitely not preferred, if I'm honest. You do get Defog as well for like the pivot kind of sets, if that's like a emergency defogger, so it's there. As well, just like Pidgeot, it gets Pursuit. And that does get Natural Gift, which is cool. I don't know the berries off the top of my head. I know these are like the 80 power ones, and there's 100 power ones. Again, this is also Legacy for Natural Gift, but it is an option if you want to run like you know. I don't believe he gets Work Up. If he really did, oh, he does get Work Up. So you could, in theory, run like Natural Gift, Work Up, and if you run the Fire Berry, which I know is not Akka, but there's a stronger one than Akka. I wonder, you know what? I think we're gonna calc this shit right now. We're gonna do a little in battle or in live calcing for Adamant +1 against, let's just say, a Corviknight. I wish you guys could see this a little better. I'm actually we'll move it a little bit so you can see it. So we go look at Corv. If we make that like max Fizdef. And I really wish I knew the berry. I'm just going to throw the Akka on there because I know it's not the strongest one. We'll go Natural Gift. Not great. But again, this one's the 80 power one. We're going to throw like Fire Punch on and just make it 100 power. Because at least then you do have a shot to break it a little bit. Yeah, 59 to 70, that's max, like absolute max Fizdef Corv. So if you chip this thing a little bit, it's not bad. Like you could realistically, you know, work with that. It's not the end of the world. It's not great. I'm not gonna lie to you, but yeah, I bet you guys can see that. Great. Not my finest work. But yeah, overall, Starraptor, cool Pokemon. Not perfect, but I'd probably use this one the most out of the three, just because you don't have to use your Mega slot. But yeah, solid Pokemon overall. And then next up, we got the worst of the three by far. Shout out to my boy James. Swillow. It's really got like two sets. It can run Flame Orb Guts and it can run Boom Burst. We'll start with Flame Orb Guts. It's pretty strong. I mean, 85 attack is super mid. It's not great. But Facade, Stab, Guts boosted, all that kind of shit. It can, with teams that don't have good steel types, this isn't like the worst thing in the world, but you've really got to have like Lucario as your steel type to really be affected by Swillow. Because Registeel or Bronzong or Celesteela, all those type of mons are not taking shit from this. But if you are playing this Pokemon, you can run Specs, Heat Wave, and Boom Burst and all that shit, which is its other set. Again, not great. 75 special attack, somehow worse than its physical attack. But Boom Burst is really strong Specs. And you do get Scrappy, which is a decent hidden ability, I won't lie. It's could be a lot worse. So nothing's switching in this Boom Burst except for Rock and Steel types. So again, another mon that'd be great with Focus Blast, but does not get it. I believe it gets Rock Smash. It's fighting coverage. Rock Smash. No, not even that. I'm sorry. I should have known better how bad Swillow is. And again, I use other options even more lightly. It does get Defog. It gets Baton Pass, and I only say that because if you're in a league that allows it, it gets Agility, it gets Work Up, I believe it does. So at least you could pass an Agility, I suppose. It gets cool shit like Mimic, but when are you ever really going to use that? It does get Counter. I saw this once a long time ago. So that's not like the worst option in the world. And then it's a pretty fast Pokemon with Mirror Move. So you really would have to plan out your turns well, but it's got a few cool heat things it can pull off. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the Pokemon themselves. And then team-wise, I think they would probably work best with Trappers. Trappers are definitely not as good anymore. Most people know just run a Shed Shell if you're playing a Dugtrio with your Steel type. Or, if you have Steel Flying, you run Shed Shell for Magnezone. It does still force prep, and against players, especially if you're in like a lower division, they may not run that kind of stuff. So if you're, say, like in a D3 of a league and you're just trying to work on using some new Pokemon, this would not be a bad strategy to get like Dugtrio with one of these mons. I would recommend you get like a lower tier ground type to try and help out, because Dugtrio is not a defensive ground by any stretch of the imagination. But it's not a bad combo. And again, Magnezone, similar thing. It's a little more useful as an electric than Dugtrio is as a ground, because you can at least switch into flying types because you got the 4 times. And it's a little bit bulkier. So again, this would be if you want to hit like Corv and all that kind of shit. But I'd recommend drafting one of these two more often than not. It will definitely make your life a little bit easier. And then we got, I would say, fire types. That's another good one to grab, is just try your best to break steals in any way possible. So draft really, really good fires, like high tier fires. Don't draft fucking Talonflame or Charizard or some shit. Get a fire type that can actually do damage. And preferably pivot. That's why I have Cinderace on here, but you can do things like, I don't fucking know, Darmanitan, which we might get to in a future episode. But yeah, fire types that do real damage and can pivot would be my recommendation. And then spikes. Spikes are also helpful to break down those steel types that are not weak to rocks at all. You can really get some decent chip damage on them. And then like this thing also gets taunt, so you can prevent rocks from going up on your side, which keeps your birds healthier. And obviously he can pivot out. So yeah, no, there's definitely options you can do with these. Again, they're mid-tiers for a reason. I'm probably going to end up saying that a lot during this series. They are mid-tiers for a reason. But if you build around them well, they're not the worst, other than Swillow. Swillow is the worst, so keep that in mind. But yeah, I will talk to y'all later. Please leave any suggestions you want to see down in the comments. What do you want to see on the next Mid-Tier Monday? And I will catch y'all later. Peace out.